I want to ask you something personal. When did you last read something in English? A book, an article, a story, something you chose because you wanted to, not because you had to. Think about it for a second. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was last year. Maybe you can't remember. Here is what I notice with my students. The ones who read, even a little, even slowly, they have something that grammar exercises cannot give. Their English feels alive. It has texture. It has rhythm. It sounds like a real person, not a textbook. And the ones who only study grammar and vocabulary lists, they can pass tests, but they struggle to find words when they speak. They struggle to write naturally. Something is missing. Today I want to tell you what that something is and how reading gives it to you without you even trying. Because what happens in your brain when you read it is remarkable. And most English learners have no idea. Let's talk about it. When you read, your brain does many things at the same time. One part of your brain processes the words. Another part makes pictures, images of the story, the place, the people. Another part connects new information to things you already know. And another part feels the emotions, what the characters feel, what happens to them, whether they are safe or in danger. Reading is not passive. It is not relaxing for your brain. It is a full workout, every system working together. Scientists did an experiment. They put people in a brain scanner and asked them to read a story. Then they asked other people to just look at a list of the same words. Not in a story, just a list. The difference was extraordinary. The people reading the story, their brains lit up in multiple areas at once. Language, vision, emotion, memory, movement. Even the part of the brain connected to smell activated when they read about food or forests. The people reading the list? Mostly just the language area. Same words, completely different experience in the brain. A story is not just information. A story is a simulation. Your brain lives inside it, and everything that happens in that simulation, it becomes part of your memory. And for English learners, something very specific happens inside that simulation. When you read, you meet English that you never hear in conversation. More complex sentences, richer vocabulary, phrases that writers use, phrases that educated speakers use, phrases that textbooks never teach. Because textbooks can only cover so much, and writers cover everything. And your brain absorbs all of it, quietly, without effort, without you deciding to learn. Scientists call this incidental learning. Incidental means it happens on the side, as a side effect. While you are reading for pleasure, for the story, for the characters, for what happens next, your brain is quietly building your vocabulary, your grammar sense, your feel for what sounds natural in English. You are not trying to learn, but you are learning. All the time. I know this feeling. When I was learning a language, I was reading novels for enjoyment. I wasn't studying them. I was just reading because I wanted to know what happened. And then, one day in a conversation, a word appeared. A word I had never studied. A word I had never written in a notebook. It just came. From nowhere. But it wasn't from nowhere. It was from a story. It had a context, a character who used it, a moment connected to it, a feeling attached to it. The brain loves stories. It holds onto stories much better than it holds onto lists. This is called narrative memory. Our brains evolved over thousands of years to store information through stories. Before books, before writing, before schools and classrooms. Humans passed knowledge through stories, around fires, across generations, parent to child, village to village. Your brain is built for stories. It has been built for stories for a very long time. When you read a story in English, you are using the deepest, oldest memory system you have. That is not a small thing. That is everything. Now, there is a right way and a wrong way to read for language learning. And most people, when they first try to read in a second language, do it the wrong way. I did it the wrong way. Almost everyone does. Here is the wrong way. You open a book, you read one sentence, there is a word you don't know, you stop, you open a dictionary. On your phone, in a book, somewhere. You find the word. You maybe write it down. You go back to the sentence. You finish it. You read the next sentence. There is another word you don't know. You stop again. 20 minutes for one page. You feel exhausted. You feel stupid. And the story that you've completely lost the story. You have no idea what is happening anymore because you've been looking at individual words for 20 minutes. Sound familiar? And after a week of this, you stop because it doesn't feel like reading. It feels like work. Hard, slow, unpleasant work. Here is why this approach destroys the benefit of reading completely. When you stop every few sentences, your brain never enters the real reading state, the deep, absorbed state, the state where incidental learning happens. You break the flow before it even begins. And without that flow, you lose everything that makes reading powerful for language learning. You learn the isolated word, but not how it feels in a sentence, not how the language moves around it, not the rhythm, not the music. And most importantly, you stop enjoying it. And when you stop enjoying it, you stop doing it. And when you stop doing it, you lose the single most powerful tool for natural language acquisition that exists. So, what do you do instead? 3 words. Read for meaning. If you understand 70% of what you read, keep going. The other 30%? Trust it. The story will often explain it. The situation will make it clear. What the character does next will show you what the word means. Your brain is smarter than you think. It fills in gaps. It uses context. It makes connections. Let it do its job. Stop only for a word that appears many times and completely blocks your understanding of the story. That word matters. Write it down. Look it up later, after you finish the chapter, not in the middle of it. The rest, let it pass. Float past it like a river. Your brain absorbs it anyway, quietly, in the background, building a picture of the language that no vocabulary list can build. You don't need to understand everything. You need to keep moving. Now I want to try something with you. I'm going to read a short story, a very short one. Read it with me, or just listen, if you are driving or walking. Don't stop for unknown words. Don't analyze. Just receive the story. Anna had been learning English for 4 years. She was good at grammar. She could pass any test, but she had never read a real English book. One evening, her teacher gave her a short story. "Just read it," she said. "Do not translate. Do not stop. Just read." Anna was nervous. She sat down with the story and a cup of tea. She started reading slowly, then less slowly, and then something strange happened. She forgot she was learning English. She was just reading. She finished the story at midnight. She sat for a moment in the quiet. Something had shifted. Beautiful. Let's look at some language from that story. Not grammar rules, not a lesson, just natural phrases, the way English actually works, the way real writers use it. She had been learning English for 4 years. Had been learning. This is past perfect continuous. I know, that sounds technical, but the feeling is simple. It means she started learning before this moment, and she continued. It's about her history, her past, the time before this story begins. You use this when you want to show how long something was happening before another moment arrived. Shadow this with me now. She had been learning English for 4 years. Say it. Feel the length of time in that sentence. 4 years. That's a long time. The grammar carries that feeling. She had been waiting for 2 hours. I had been living in this city for 10 years. She had been trying to sleep. One more time. Your phrase. Fill in the blank. I had been learning English for years. Say your real number. Say the whole sentence. Good. Now, she was good at grammar. Good at, plus a noun or a verb with ing. This is one of the most useful blocks in English. Very common, very natural. Shadow me. Good at grammar. Good at cooking. Good at listening. Good at keeping calm. Now yours. What are you good at? Say it. I am good at... Don't think too long. Whatever comes first, say it out loud. Now. She forgot she was learning English. Forgot, plus a whole sentence. The word that is usually not said, it's invisible, but the structure is very useful. Shadow. I forgot I was nervous. She forgot it was Monday. He forgot he had a meeting. And one more, something had shifted. Shifted. This is a word I want you to keep. It means a quiet, slow change, not an explosion, not a dramatic moment. Just something moved inside. Something is different now, and you can feel it, but you can't quite explain it. Something had shifted. Say it quietly, the way you would say it after something important happened. Something had shifted. That phrase will come back to you, in English, in life. Remember it. Now, your first practice moment. I want you to do this right now. Go back to the Anna story. Read it again. Out loud this time, slowly. Don't stop for any words you're not sure about. Just read for the story. Then answer these 3 questions. Out loud, in English, 2 sentences each. 1, what happened to Anna? 2, what phrase surprised you or stayed with you? 3, what did you feel at the end? Say your answers out loud, even if nobody is listening, even if you whisper. That is a complete reading practice. 3 minutes. No notebook, no dictionary, just you and the story. Now, where do you start if reading in English still feels too hard? This is the most common question I hear, and the answer is always the same. Start smaller than you think you need to. Much smaller, not a novel, not even a short novel. Start with a short story, 5 pages, 10 pages, something you can read in one sitting, something you can finish. Because finishing something, even something very small, changes how you feel about yourself as a reader. It builds confidence, and confidence is what makes you pick up the next thing, and the next, and the next. The habit of finishing is more important than the level of difficulty. There is a type of book created exactly for this moment. When you want to read real stories but full books feel too hard. They are called graded readers. Real stories, with real plots and real characters, but the vocabulary and grammar are carefully chosen for your level. If you are A2, try Oxford Bookworms Stage 1 or 2. If you are between A2 and B1, try Stage 2 or 3. These are not boring, simplified texts. They are real stories, adventures, mysteries, love stories, classics, told in language that is right for you right now. You can also try short stories by real writers. O. Henry, Roald Dahl, Raymond Carver. These writers wrote short, 3 pages, 5 pages, 8 pages. They are perfect for learners because you can finish one in a single sitting and feel the complete satisfaction of a finished story. And speaking of O. Henry, in a future episode, we are going to do something special. We are going to read one of his complete short stories together. Here, in this podcast, I will guide you through it the same way we just worked with the Anna story. His stories are short and beautiful. They have a very specific rhythm. And the endings, you will not see them coming. Nobody ever does. That episode is coming. Stay with me. Now, your second practice moment. A slightly bigger one. Think of something you like, something you genuinely enjoy, a topic, a genre, a type of story, crime, romance, history, animals, sport, anything. Now say this sentence out loud. I enjoy books and I want to find a book about it in English. Say it. Make it real. That sentence is your first step toward finding your book. Not a book your teacher gave you, not a book someone said is good for learners, a book you actually want to read. And then this week, find it. 10 pages, 5 pages, just find it and start. Here is what I want you to remember from today. Reading in English is not a task. It is not homework. It is not something you do because you should. It is pleasurable. It should be pleasurable. That is the whole point. If you are reading something and you feel nothing, change the book. That book is not for you right now. Find something where you actually want to know what happens next. That feeling, what happens next, is the engine of language learning. Because when you care about the story, something extraordinary happens. You stop caring about the language. You stop translating in your head. You stop checking grammar. You stop worrying about the words you don't know. You just read. And paradoxically, and this is the beautiful paradox at the center of language learning, that is exactly when you learn the most. When you stop trying to learn and you just live inside the story. Anna discovered this at midnight, alone with her cup of tea. You can discover it too. This week, with 15 pages. Your challenge, 15 pages this week. Any story, any level that feels mostly understandable but a little challenging. Something you chose, something you want. And write in the comments, what are you going to read? Or, if you have already read something in English, what was the last thing that made you forget you were learning? I want to know. I read every comment. See you in the next episode. Read something today. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story. Because the right episode at the right moment can change more than just your English.